It was a quiet night in a suburban neighborhood. The soft glow of streetlights reflected off the pavement as a car pulled into the driveway of a modest home. Inside the car, a young woman, 25 years old, stepped out, exhausted, but ready to wind down for the evening. The house stood silent and still, but the air carried a subtle unease, almost imperceptible to anyone not paying attention. Inside the dimly lit bathroom, she washed up for bed, the mundane rhythm of her nightly routine soothing after a long day. Suddenly, a male voice called her name, clear, deliberate, and close. She froze, her hands gripping the edge of the sink. Startled, she responded instinctively, "What?" But there was no reply. The only sound was the faint hum of the bathroom fan. Confused and uneasy, she opened the bathroom door, peering into the dim hallway. Her voice broke the silence again. "Dad?" The hall stretched out in stillness, shadows pulling in the corners. She stepped cautiously toward her father's bedroom. When she pushed the door open, she found him sound asleep, his soft breathing confirming he hadn't left his bed. Her chest tightened as a chilling realization crept in. Whatever had called her name, it wasn't her father. Back in her room, she tried to shake the unease by turning on a comedy skit. The laughter from the screen, a feeble attempt to drown out her fear. Yet, the nagging feeling persisted, a strange pull urging her to reach out to her friends. One by one, she messaged them, checking if they were all right. When all of them replied with reassurances, the tension in her chest eased, but only slightly. She couldn't explain it, but it felt like someone, somewhere needed her. 3 years passed, and life had moved on. Then, out of the blue, a familiar name appeared on her phone screen, her ex-boyfriend. Their conversation began cautiously, but soon shifted to apologies and reflections on the past. As they spoke, the memory of that night resurfaced in her mind, the voice, the pull, the unanswered question of who had called her name. "Can I ask you something strange?" she said hesitantly. She described that eerie night, her name spoken in a tone that demanded her attention. The line went silent for a moment. Then, in a quiet voice, he confessed. That month, 3 years ago, was when his father had passed away. He revealed that during that time, he had been overwhelmed with grief, reflecting on his life and their relationship, wondering what could have been. In that moment, something clicked. The connection between the unspoken, but deeply felt, had reached across distance and time. She couldn't prove it, but she believed it was a spiritual call, a tether between souls, a message carried by energies beyond her understanding. As she looked back on that night, she realized the mystery wasn't about fear, but about connection. She felt grateful to have found some resolution even years later. Now, sitting by her window under a star-filled sky, she couldn't help but wonder, would she ever hear her name again? And if she did, would she be ready to answer?